This is Sharon Garvin of Wayne State College, and this is my screencast for parts of Chapter 24, that is the Activity-Based Management part, and the JIT, or Just-in-Time Inventory System part of the Accounting 2 online course. What you see on the screen is a handout that we use on our on-campus classes. We have the students take a look at a hypothetical type of business that sells energy or snack packs to college students. So the product consists of a sack of groceries, a standardized sack of groceries that students can order and purchase so they can continue to study without distraction. These sell very well close to or during finals week. So if this is a business, let's think about the particular activities that happen in the business. First, the marketing people have to forecast how many we think we're going to sell. Based on that, production people figure out how many of the snacks packs we're going to make. Based on how many we're going to make, we know how many of cans of pop we have to buy, or how many candy bars, or how many sacks of potato chips. We call around to the area grocery stores. Wayne's in a smaller community. We got a couple grocery stores, so you might call some other communities to find the lowest prices, because good business people want to obtain their raw materials at low prices. So you might have us going the 40 miles to a town in Iowa called Sioux City, or making a 30-mile trip up to Norfolk, Nebraska, or about an 8 to 10 mile trip over to Wakefield, Nebraska, or buying locally in an attempt to try to get the lowest price raw materials. We bring the quality control people in to check the items to make sure we don't have any dented cans of pop or any smashed boxes of crackers, etc. We have people by the phone waiting to take the orders from the students when they want to purchase a snack pack. The production people take a sack and put the items in it. That's how they assemble the sack of goodies. The delivery people transport it to the customer. And then you have an office person who sends out the bills to the customers, receives the payments, takes them down to the bank, gets the bills from the grocery store, pays them once a week, and then keeps the accounting records. So I asked my students which activities are value added, which are non-value added, and what kind of strategies can be used to decrease or eliminate the non-value added activities. If you want to stop or freeze the video frame at this point and think about those questions, you can. So which ones are value added? Number 8 is value added by the customers. Generally, they perceive more value for getting a package of item rather than having to call a lot of places and buy these items one by one. So there seems to be a need to assemble the packages. Customers are willing to pay extra to get it all in one package as opposed to a lot of little ones. Number 9 is probably value added by the customers because they don't have to go to the store to buy the items. They're delivered right to them, and they might be willing to pay extra for that. And number 7 is probably value added for the customers because somebody's there by the phone ready to take our order. So they appreciate the convenience of that. People might be willing to pay extra for that. Items number 1, 2, and 10 are not necessarily value added as defined by the customer, but they're probably still essential. Still have to have the marketing people figuring out what we're going to sell, the production people making production plans, and we do have to have somebody doing the accounting function. We're legally required to keep track of our business activities and file reports and income tax returns and those types of things. So how could we reduce some of these other items that I noted were not value added? For one thing, you could get rid of part number 10 here. That is, get rid of the entire billing function by simply having the people who deliver the energy packets out to the customers collect the cash as soon as they deliver them. Sort of like when you order a pizza and they come and deliver pizza to your home, they expect you to pay for the pizza at that time. If we had people pay for the energy packets upon delivery, gets rid of the entire billing function, don't have to pay for envelopes or stamps or time for somebody to make out the bills, and that's going to help us save some money and be more profitable. You could get rid of number 6, and instead of having quality control people hired, the Deming method says let the workers themselves be responsible for quality. The production people, when they're assembling the goods, could be looking to see if any of the items are dented or damaged and put those off to the side. You could also get rid of course, item number 4 and most of item number 5 by, instead of going to 4 different grocery stores or calling around to get different prices, identify the best grocery store, negotiate the lowest prices in exchange with the owner of the grocery store for promised high volume purchases. I would promise to give all of our business to a particular grocery store in exchange for them negotiating low prices for me. And I would also take into consideration travel costs and try to do it locally to save on the transportation or gas costs to acquire our raw materials. So those are pretty good suggestions that most of the students come up with. Better yet, you could get rid of the rest of number 5 by simply phoning or faxing the store and saying, okay, today I need 3 of these and 10 of these and 12 of these and 16 of these, and have the grocery store deliver to you. That saves you, again, from making any travel out to the store yourself and picking up the items. And in today's competitive market, many of your vendors or suppliers will deliver at a very low cost in exchange for, again, your promise to give them a high volume of purchases of their products. The best yet that we see in American manufacturing situations is getting rid of number 3 and some of number 10 by sending your production plan from part number 2 right off to the store or supplier and say, okay, you're responsible for keeping us stocked. So in manufacturing facilities, we have a close relationship with our suppliers or vendors. We send them our production schedule and we say, you keep us stocked. We never have to do paperwork on defective items that need to be returned because we tell the supplier if it's not a quality item, don't bring it. So they do the quality control for us. For part number 10, instead of paying the supplier weekly, I could pay the supplier monthly, and that would cut down on a lot of paperwork. And the pay, instead of waiting for an invoice, would be based on good output. If I made 10 snack packs, I know I owe the grocery store for 20 cans of pop. If I made 20 snack packs, I know I owe the grocery store for 20 candy bars. And so we see entities in American manufacturing now paying their suppliers, vendors, based on good output. It gets rid of a lot of the cost in the billing end of the grocery store. It gets rid of a lot of the cost in the accounts payable or payment side of our particular business. Both businesses were going to be more profitable if they have developed a system of trust with each other. And that's going to help us save a lot of money. Again, it significantly reduces the paperwork for both the supplier and the producer. This is a win-win situation. So you've gotten rid of a lot of the non-value-added activities. The customer notices no difference whatsoever in the quality of the product. The supplier has to do a lot, but the supplier is happy because they're guaranteed high-volume sales that are going to generate a lot of profits for that grocery store. As the producer's business grows, that is, the energy packet business grows, so also the grocery store businesses grows. So this is the end of our discussion of activity-based management. The rest of the time I'm going to talk about JIT. What you see on the screen now is an activity that we do in our on-campus classes related to just-in-time inventory systems. Traditionally in the United States, we have manufacturing systems that are laid out in a format that you see like this, in that we specialize in certain areas. We have people only working in one particular area, doing one particular thing. And a product basically has to move long distances through the factory or through more than one building even to be manufactured. And so this is an example of a company that makes iron railings. They have 4 different models of that. Sorry about the spelling error there. This is what the current plant layout looks like, and it takes 18 steps basically to make our products. So we receive the steel from the supplier. We have a receiving department that takes steel off the truck. We have quality control inspection people that inspect it. After that, it goes to a raw material warehouse for storage. When we need it, we move it to the cutting area. We have to set up the equipment for cutting for the particular model. We cut the steel. Then we move it to another part of the factory for welding, set up the welding equipment for this particular model, and weld the steel. Move it to the finishing part of the factory, set up the finishing equipment for the specific model being produced, and we finish it. Move it to the painting part of the factory, set up the painting equipment for a particular color for the particular product, and then we paint the product. Then we have hired quality control people who inspect the finished goods. These are different from the quality control people that inspected the raw materials. And then we move it to the finished goods warehouse for storage, which costs money to hold the items until a customer orders them, at which time the item is shipped out. So we have a shipping department that loads the truck for the packaged items that the customer has ordered. So you see there's 18 steps here and a lot of activities that are going on based on the traditional factory layout that you see in the United States. Many companies in the United States have now moved to a more of a just-in-time product layout system. That is, instead of having all these different parts of the organization in separate parts of the building or separate buildings, they have work cells which are generally semicircular items here. And because we have 4 models, we would have 4 work cells. Each one would have its own set of equipment permanently set up to make that particular product. So if a customer orders product 2, for example, we'd have the supplier deliver the steel right to the production area floor to the work cell for model number 2. The cutting equipment is already set up, the welding equipment is already set up, the finishing, painting, everything is all set up. And we only have one worker, only a small number of workers here, who are responsible to make the product from start to finish, as opposed to traditionally where we have people who only paint or people who only weld. The people in the work cell are going to have higher satisfaction because they're going to be proud of their job. They made it from start to finish. So how many steps of these 18 steps could we cut if we went from the traditional format down to the JIT? Receive the steel from the supplier. You know, I'm going to leave that one up there, but you might be able to work with your supplier to deliver straight to the production floor, at which point you wouldn't have to unload the truck at all. The supplier vendor could deliver it right to your production area. We never have to do quality control of our raw materials because we work closely with the vendor and say, if it's not quality, don't even bring it. We don't have to store it because under JIT, we don't make the item until the customer orders it. It's a pull system. Customer orders the item, we have the supplier bring the steel as soon as we need it. We make it, as soon as it's done, it gets shipped out. So there is no storage at all. You don't have to move it to cutting because, again, the production area has already received the steel directly from the supplier delivering to the production work cell. Don't have to set up the cutting equipment because it's already set up. Do have to cut the steel. Don't have to move it to welding because welding is right next to the cutting equipment. Don't have to set up the welding equipment already set up. Do have to weld it. Don't have to move it to finishing because the finishing area is right next to the welding area. Don't have to set up the finishing equipment already set up. Do have to finish the product. Don't have to move it to painting because painting is right next to finishing. Don't have to set up the painting equipment because it's already loaded with the color of paint for the particular product. Do have to paint the product. Don't have to do quality control of the finished goods because under the Deming method, the workers themselves are responsible for checking the quality of the product. If it's not a quality product, they don't ship it out to the customer. So we do not have to pay quality control people to come in and check our work. Our workers are proud of their work. They're going to be responsible for checking the quality themselves. Don't have to store the item because, again, as soon as the item gets done under JIT, we ship it out. The product is not even made unless the customer orders it. And then, yeah, we would have to ship the product to the customer. So you notice we've gone from 18 steps down to 1, that's receive the steel, 2, cut the steel, 3, weld the steel, 4, finish the product, 5, paint the product, and 6, ship the product out. So we've gone from 18 steps down to 6 steps, which will result in significant cost savings for this particular company. Now, it's not free. I mean, it's going to cost some to change your whole building's plant layout. So there's an expense with that. Also, instead of having one set of welding equipment under the JIT system with 4 products, we'd have to have 4 sets of welding equipment, 4 sets of painting equipment. So there's an investment in equipment as far as that goes. There would also be an investment in your workers who used to just have to do one item like painting, now have to be skilled enough to make the product from start to finish. But that should result in increased satisfaction of the workers, giving them a little bit of variety in their work and pride in a job well done. So there are some additional costs to get from here to here, but by reducing the number of steps from 18 down to 6, the company is going to see significant reductions in cost without perceived decreases in quality of our final product as far as the customer is concerned, which generally are going to make the product, the production facility, more profitable in the long run for the customer. So this is what we see a lot of businesses doing, and it's something that you need to think about into looking for particular future businesses you're associated with, if there are ways you can help the company save money by working more in a JIT type of environment. This is the end of my screencast for activity-based management and JIT.